Hey everyone, welcome to Cupboard Creations. My name is Gareth. This is my little corner of the internet for playing with my food. Today I am doing something kind of like a sauce, kind of like a chutney. This is a cucumber relish. Now, you might see it around a bit, depending on where you are in the world. I used to love it. You used to go out to America a little bit and you know, whenever you had your hot dogs or your burgers, they had this lovely green relish. As a kid, I didn't have a clue what it was, just knew I liked it. So I thought, you know, looking a bit more into it, I've been started making it and I absolutely adore this stuff. It's really, really cool. So I hope you're going to enjoy this one. We're going to get cracking, but we're going to do this in two ways. I'm going to show you the long way, but I'm going to talk about the short way as well. So you've got a couple of options here. Obviously, very first thing you're going to need, cucumbers. So I'm going to use 2 cucumbers here because I'm going to make probably 2 to 3 jars, about that size, like decent sized jam jars, and that should do that. So nice and simply, you just want to chop it in half lengthways. If you do it the other way, might make things a little more interesting. And then you're going to scoop the seeds out because we don't want the seeds. It's just water pretty much. So just get a spoon and just drag those out. Right, so now you've got your cucumber, you de-seeded it, and you got rid of all of that kind of wetness. We're just going to chop this up and you're going to really finely dice it. So you want tiny, tiny little bits, no more than like 2 millimeters kind of cubed. And that's just going to give you like this really nice kind of cucumber, and there's onion and all that, and it all the same size. It's just going to give you a much nicer kind of, not flavour to it, but texture. It comes out like a relish, like a sauce. You don't want huge chunky bits in it. So quite simply, chop it down as small as you can. Okay, so I've finally chopped up all that cucumber. It does take a while, unless you've got one of those wicked little machines that you can just buzz and it chops into little bits. If you do use it, it'll be so much easier. So what I've got now is, and this is where we can kind of deviate a little bit depending on how you want to do this. So I've got 50 grams of salt in 2 trays because I didn't have one big enough for one. So I've got 25 in each, and we're just going to put the cucumber in there. Now, if you want to do this a bit quicker, what you can do, just grab yourself a bowl, put all the cucumber in there, and just toss over a load of salt. What you're going to get is, doing it this way, you will keep for a lot longer. So you will be able to keep it, and it will stay crunchy, and it will kind of, you'll get more of that flavour in. You won't get the liquid from the cucumbers kind of seeping into the sauce and kind of flattening it out a bit. But if you're making this kind of for a barbecue in 3 days time, you can just do this really, really quick, really easy, and then just pop it out. It's going to be a little harsher. It's not going to be kind of blended as well in flavour, but it's still going to taste delicious. It's still going to taste really, really good. So if you're doing it the long way, in a bowl, 50 grams of salt. If you're doing it the short way, into a bowl, chuck a load over the top, and you'll wash it off in a bit. So let's get that in there. There we go, don't want to waste any. So now what we're going to add to that is we're going to add a medium onion. So probably, yeah, about that size, medium. And you're just going to dice this down exactly the same way you did the cucumber, same sort of size. Don't worry if the cucumber isn't millimeters thick, or you know, it's got a little bit more rustic, we'll call it. Just chop it down as small as you can. Same with the onion. So let's get cracking. Okay, so now that's done. God, I'm not crying. I just love this so much. This is madness. Oh. Okay, so once you've got your onion in there and you've stopped crying your eyes out, you want a red pepper. And again, we're just doing exactly the same. You're going to only use half of it. You can use the whole one if you want, but I really like with this relish it to be green, you know, really show the cucumber is the main ingredient. So I only use half in here. It just adds that little bit of peppery sweetness, really, really goes well. So you just want to chop this up, same way, same size as you did your cucumber and your onions. Okay, so we've shared that out nicely now. And then you're just gonna give it a little toss around. Just kind of get it all coated in the salt. We'll bring that salt up from the bottom. Brilliant. So now that's done, we're just gonna pop our lids on and we're gonna leave that, if you're doing it the long way, overnight. If you are just quickly putting it together, you just want it fast and furious, then once you've got that salt on, all of that veg, just leave it for an hour. Just help drain that salt out. You know, it will drain quite a bit out just in an hour really. And it will kind of, it will keep it crunchy, you know, and the last thing you want with this is you don't want the mushy one. I don't know, you know, what you get elsewhere, but what we end up getting over here in the UK when you get these cucumber relishes, they come in a squeezy bottle. How? It's meant to be a cucumber relish. Yeah, you're not meant to be able to squeeze it. So pop them in the fridge or just leave them for an hour or so and wash them off. And we'll come back for me tomorrow, for you in a second or so. See you then. And okay, so we're back. Now, I've got my cucumber here. Now, all I've done is taken that out the fridge this morning and just washed it and washed it and washed it. So 3 or 4 times. You know, you want to get quite a lot of that salt off, but it's going to help keep that kind of crispiness, and it's going to help kind of let the vinegar stand out, you know, and you're going to get that, all those flavors a bit better, and it's not going to get washed out with the water from inside the cucumber. So the best bet is just to taste it. Now, you are still going to taste some salt. Of course you are. It's going to have soaked in a little bit, but what you should have is a taste of salt, which is kind of almost moreish. You know, you'll get that nice crispy cucumber and you'll get this salt which is, it's there, but it doesn't taste like, you know, you've been swimming through the sea with your mouth open for too long. If you've done this the quick way, and kind of would urge you to do it the quick way for the first time, you know, maybe half the recipe, just make it really fast, just see whether you like it. Makes sense really, doesn't it? So if you got that, again, just wash off your cucumber. You'll have had salt on there for, yeah, a couple of minutes, hour or so, then just wash it off and we're ready to go. So the last thing we need to do is the dill. And this, as a partner to the cucumber, is just fantastic. So what you're going to want is about a tablespoon and a half of dill fronds. I'm just going to strip them off and just roughly chop them up. Because you don't want them super small, but you don't want them enormous, because otherwise you'll only get a bit of dill in each little bit. You want it kind of mixed through nicely. So there we go, that's my dill. Yeah, tablespoon and a half, 2 tablespoons maybe there. And now we're all ready to go and just start quickly putting it together. So we're off to the hob, see you in a sec. Right, so here we are, ready to go. No matter what you're doing, this is all gonna be the same. So you're gonna want a pan on the hob. You're gonna want to turn the hob on, because that really helps. Once you got that on, you want 200 ml of cider vinegar. I'm just gonna pop that in there. Then we're going to put in 120 grams of light, soft brown sugar. And that's just going to create like a base for this. You're going to get a really lovely sweet relish with it. It's going to be really delicious. So all you're going to do is just wait until that sugar is dissolved. Keep giving it a stir. Just when the sugar's dissolved, we'll be back and we can put the rest together. Brilliant. So that sugar is now dissolved. It's just starting to bubble. And that's the point which we want to start adding all of those spices in. So I'm going to put in about 2 teaspoons of mustard seeds. Again, go really well with the cucumber and the dill. And then we're going to add in our dill. Like so. And we're going to add in, and this one's up to you, I'm going to put in a little bit of cayenne pepper. Now that just gives it a little bit of fire, a little bit of kind of edge to it, but you don't want too much. I mean, it would be a very strange hot sauce if it was cucumber. So I'm just going to add in probably about 1/4 teaspoon to there. And that will be enough for this. And then we can add in our veg. So being very careful not to splash yourself with hot vinegar. You can add all of that in. There we go. Don't want to waste any. I'm going to give that a bit of a stir around, just so we incorporate everything, so that dill doesn't clump up and it moves through there nicely. And that's looking great. And then the last thing we want to do is corn flour. Now corn flour is going to help thicken it, because we're going to thicken this fast. This isn't going to be like my caramelised onion chutney, where everything takes a long time and it's really kind of reduced right down. This is a bit fresher, a bit lighter, and it happens a lot quicker. So grab yourself a tablespoon of corn flour, and your best bet is to just grab a bit of the liquid. Doesn't matter if there's a few bits of cucumber come with it. And then give that a stir in there. What that'll do is it's much, much easier to stir it in this than it is once you put it in there. And you'll end up with no lumps. So, nice and simple way of doing it. There we go, and then pour that corn flour mixture in. And then give it a stir around. And what we're going to do here is get that whipped in. We're going to simmer that now, so bring it up to a simmer and then lid off, simmer it, and it should take about 5 minutes. That corn flour starts to do its work and that sauce will thicken up. And literally once that's done, it's ready. Okay, so that's it, 5 minutes, and that is really nicely sort of thickened up. It's got to become, yeah, like a little sort of sauce around it. Now it's still going to look slightly thin, but that doesn't matter. As it cools, that's going to kind of thicken up a little bit. You should get perfect amount of kind of sauciness to it. So now what you need to do is kind of get it into these things. So as I said, I've got, 4 here. I reckon it's going to do 3 and a bit of them. So I've got 1, which I can actually handle because those are all sterilised. Now, if you want to keep this and you want to keep it for months, sterilise them. So they'll be hot. They've been in the oven, sort of 150, like washed out, then just put in there without drying, just put them straight in the oven, 150 for about 15 minutes, and then just put the lids in hot boiling water. But this one, I'm just filling up cold because I'm going to eat it tonight. And this is the great thing with this. You can do that. You can actually, just put it straight in a jar. You can eat it almost immediately, once it's cooled down a little bit, obviously. So I'm going to fill one of those up. Then I'll fill those up later and I can save them. So there we go. That is my cucumber relish. Absolutely glorious little thing. And it's so useful because you can do it so quick and you can do it long. You can make it preserved for, these will keep once preserved for a good 6 months easily. That one is not going to keep much longer than this evening. So there we go. My cucumber relish. Hope you enjoy it. I hope you give it a go, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.